I thought I'd have a crack at making a clutch puller for my grandson's Go Kart. They're available for about $140 by the time they send it to you. Had a guess at some sizes and drew an initial sketch. My son in WA took some accurate measurements and I refined my sketch. It's an M38 1.5mm pitch. The three M6mm screws separates the clutch from the flywheel. I've used a metric fine M10 screw as the pusher bolt. The lowest part of the M38 thread is only on a very thin wall. The thread tore apart on my first rapid prototype. Reducing the ID by 0.5 millimetre and adding more wall thicknesses to the print fixed the prototype. My chaser die skimmed the modelled thread. Time to make it out of steel. I've never single point cut a thread by myself. Okay. I've changed this top gear to from a 30 to a 40. It's running on a 127 there, but that's just an idler. It doesn't actually change the ratio because it's an idler in between. That's a 60 cog down the bottom there, which I've changed. So it's really a 40 running to a 60 is the ratio. The intermediate 27, which is usually only used for converting to imperial sizes, is the suggested cog there, just to be the idler in the middle. So I think I've got the gears set up now. So in cutting metric threads, you're looking for the pitch in metric versus threads per inch in an imperial system. So the gears on the back of the motor, on the back of the gearbox here, shows a 40 driving a 127 idler and a 60 on the output shaft there. Now, what we're looking for is 1.5 millimeter pitch, and so to get that you need AD and N selected with the knobs here. So going back to that, it's AD. So it's this one's currently set to B. Roll it over to, I'll need to rotate things I think to get it to go to A, and then it was D and N over here. So let me work on that. So the setup is A and D and N, which is the last one there, and U, which is the second last one, V, U. So we've got those knobs in the right click positions, AD and NU is 1.5, so I think we're right. That's a rubbish bit of M16 by 1.5 thread, which I've cut with just the normal carbide tool, so it hasn't got a point on it. It's got roughly a 60-degree included angle in there, but I'm going to get a proper threading tool now and get the root of those threads deeper. And there's a real M16 tap, and I've got a M16 chasing die as well, but that won't go on there at the moment because the root of the threads isn't deep, because it's just got the radius of an ordinary tool cut that so far. Well, I've got that thread chaser on there and it's not wobbling around. It's my first thread I think I've ever cut myself completely, setting the lathe up, the gears, the tool, and that's an M16 1.5mm pitch, and I'm pretty happy with the way that's turned out. It's not a bad looking thread, so let's see if I can do it on the real thing. That seems to be a pretty good fit. I left a little bit of a lead in here because there's excess length between here and here, and gap behind there that I can clean up later. And that edge needs to be faced off. It was just cut with an angle grinder, and so that needs to be faced back flush, and then the pocket bored out in there. So that's my thread after pretty much a whole day of fucking around. I bought the M38 by 1.5 tap and die about 3 years ago to make a puller to suit my Suzuki quad bike flywheel. I used the tap for the Suzuki and the die for the kart motor, $50 on Marketplace. Now I've got to send it to Perth to see if it works. Get out to your shed and have some fun.